Welcome to California State University, Los Angeles, 68th Commencement Ceremony. Will the audience please rise for the processional? Will the audience please remain standing for the national anthem?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red clear, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Good evening, students, honored family members, and friends. My name is Emily Allen. I'm Dean of the College of Engineering, Computer Science, and Technology. Welcome to the 68th Commencement Ceremony. Over the course of your academic career, our faculty, administration, and staff have shared with you valuable information about the world that informs and excites them. They have imparted their wisdom upon you. They have become your mentors, and for many of you, your colleagues. At this time, I would like to acknowledge California State University Faculty Trustee Stephen Stepanek, the Chair of the Academic Senate, Dr. Nancy Werder-Perez, the members of the faculty and emeriti faculty representing the university's 6 colleges, the John F. Kennedy Memorial Library, and the administration for their contributions in assisting students to excel and to achieve their goals. Will these members of the university community please stand and be recognized? The volunteers you see today wearing dark gray polo shirts and working hard to answer your questions are members of our staff. I'd like to acknowledge them as well. Now, please join me in extending a warm welcome to the President of California State University, Los Angeles, Dr. William A. Covino.
Thank you, Emily. Welcome, class of 2015. You are here with your friends and family, your loved ones and children, your great faculty and staff members. And we're all here today to simply say congratulations to you. You have done it. You've worked hard. You've persevered. You've braved all-night study sessions and juggled school and work, and some of you even raised families. But you never lost sight of what was important, being here today to celebrate your university degree. There has never been a more exciting time to be a part of Cal State LA. This is a transformative and historic moment for the university, and you are part of it. The video that you're about to see says it best, so please turn your attention to the screen.
How do we adapt, transform, evolve? What does it mean to progress, advance, develop? How far can we push the boundaries, move the needle? How can we surprise, disrupt, shift the paradigm? How will we build a legacy? With a renewed mission and a strong sense of purpose, we say, now is the time.
Action.
In this place, where dedication, opportunity, and success converge, we are poised to transform our campus, our city, and our world. In order to lead our community, we must first serve it. In order to be global citizens, we must first be civic-minded. Who will lead the way? Who will stand up? Who will soar? California State University, Los Angeles. LA's public university for the public good.
Okay, that's all about you. And the central question is, who will soar? The answer to that question is you. There's no limit to the heights that you can reach. No matter where life takes you, you will always be part of our Golden Eagle family. You are our legacy. And I am so proud to be president of this university and have the honor of spreading the word about Cal State LA and the great distinctions that are associated with it and the great work that all of you and your faculty have been doing over the years. My partner in that effort, my co-cheerleader for Cal State LA, is also out there spreading the word, and together we're trying to make visible all the tremendous work and accomplishments that are evident here. And that's our First Lady, who's back here. Debbie, where are you? She's waving. Okay, there she is. She's in the back. She's waving to the people in the shade. I see. Debbie Covino, the First Lady of Cal State LA. All right, great. This weekend, 6,398 students will become graduates of Cal State LA. 89 of those students are veterans, brave men and women who have served our country with valor and distinction and then came back to earn their college degree. All the veterans who are here as graduates today, would you please stand and let us recognize you? Thank you very much for your service. To all of our 2015 grads, today, you join the ranks of only 7% of the world's population who hold a university degree. And as you move forward, we know that your lives, like everyone's lives, will be full of changes, of ups and downs, but through all the decades ahead, the one thing that will never change, the one thing that can never be taken away from you is your Cal State LA degree. And a Cal State LA degree is not just any college degree. You hold the degree from a university that Washington Monthly magazine has ranked number 7 in the nation as a top master's university. And number 6 in the nation for providing our students with the opportunities to pursue great careers and become great successes. So here at Cal State LA, you have practiced those opportunities. You've had access to the opportunity to work side by side and interact one-on-one with some of the most accomplished professors anywhere on path-breaking research that is improving our health, our environment, our artistic and cultural life, our safety and security, our economy. You've worked among world-class facilities such as the Hertzberg Davis Forensic Science Center and the state-of-the-art TV, Film, and Media Center. You've worked on community service and public policy projects that are transforming the region in which we live and work. You have faculty who care not only about your success, but also about your costs. That's why the faculty members here at Cal State LA this last year found innovative ways to adopt low-cost course materials that saved our students over $2 million over the course of the year. So you'll want to contribute that back to the university when you get a chance. Just divide it up and figure out what it comes to. All right. There are a number of ways that the Cal State LA experience is so vibrant and dynamic, so enriching and rigorous. You experience so much of this directly in your classroom and in your academic programs right here at the College of Engineering, Computer Science, and Technology. It truly is an exceptional college. It is home to the largest university-operated hydrogen fueling facility anywhere in America. And this facility provides hands-on learning and research opportunities for students, for faculty, and for many members of industry in the community. This year, our facility became the first station in the United States that's certified to sell fuel to the public. This college is home to faculty and students conducting energy research funded by the National Science Foundation, neuroscience research funded by the National Institutes of Health, and the development of autonomous vehicles funded by NASA. It's home to the award-winning EcoCar team. It's home to students like Lysandra Parga, who balance the weight of family responsibilities and work while also moving forward toward the dream of earning a college degree. Lysandra carried a full course load while working full-time at the Bank of America and as a student for the MESA, the Mathematics, Engineering, Science Achievement Programs. Working enabled Lysandra to provide health care coverage for her family. Because of her persistence, today Lysandra will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Industrial Technology. Lysandra, where are you? There she is. Congratulations. Stories of students and innovative programs form the fabric of Cal State LA and place the College of Engineering, Computer Science, and Technology among the finest anywhere. This is a fabric that's woven with the powerful principles of engagement, service, and the public good. Principles that truly make this a great university. And when you graduate, that's today, by the way, I want you to wear that fabric on the job, in your civic life, because you are walking examples of what makes Cal State LA great. You show the world what we stand for. And I want you to stand as great leaders, leaders in your career, leaders in your community. That will mean giving back to the city, the region, the state that's given you so much. It means being a living example of how opportunity and dedication create success, being a person that others can count on for help, for good advice, for friendship, being a voice for the public good. It means carrying the ethic of engagement that you've learned here at Cal State LA beyond these university walls for all to see. I have no doubt that you will do just that, because today you follow in the footsteps of 235,000 alumni of Cal State LA and 3 million alumni of the California State University. You become part of a storied history of citizens and civic leaders who learned on this campus. People such as tennis legend Billie Jean King, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, Congresswoman Lucille Roybal Allard, astronaut Samuel T. Durance, and members of the family, the beloved family that owns our beloved Porto's Bakery. All of these folks today will become your fellow alums. You have a lot to live up to then, but you're called upon to do great things, and I have no doubt that you will, because for you, nothing has ever been easy. For many, attending college was never a foregone conclusion. But with the love and support of your families, with the encouragement of your brothers and sisters, with the pride of your grandparents, here you sit. How many of you are the first in your families to graduate with a university degree? How many? Lots of you. Well, we know that no one does it alone, right? You all had those days, those weeks, those times when things got tough, you needed a helping hand, you needed good advice, you needed some support, you needed some care. And someone was always there to help. So, let's thank them. Will the parents of all our graduates today please stand up and let us recognize you? Will the spouses and partners of our graduates today please stand and let us recognize you? Will the children, grandparents, aunts and uncles, friends and relatives, everybody else, please stand up. Let us recognize you. Thank you all so very much for being such a big part of the success that we're celebrating here today. Now, graduates, you are ready to become the 2015 graduating class of Cal State LA. You're ready to become Golden Eagles for life. You're ready to do what is great, to achieve what is difficult. And I am ready to, before long, not right away, wait for it, it's coming, to confer those degrees in just a while. But in the meantime, my congratulations to each and every one of you. Thank you for all that you've achieved.
Thank you, President Covino. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our student speaker. Arsene Bagdasarian came to the U.S. She came to the U.S. from Iran when she was in middle school. At Cal State LA, Arsene not only achieved academically, she became a leader. Arsene served as vice president of the Society of Women Engineers and of the college's student council. She was initiated into the engineering honor societies, Tau Beta Pi and Pi Tau Sigma. She was also a researcher for the Space Center and was a leader on her senior design project team. As an intern, Arsene worked with engineers on the development of the world's largest nuclear waste treatment plant. She has now accepted a full-time position with URS AECOM, a world-renowned engineering design and construction firm, where she'll work as a cognizant systems engineer. Arsene plans eventually to pursue a Master of Science degree. Today, she receives a Bachelor of Science degree in Mechanical and Manufacturing Engineering. Please welcome Arsene Bagdasarian.
Thank you, Dean Allen. It is a great honor for me to have been given the opportunity to talk to you all today about the Japanese samurai swords. Some of us are familiar with the science behind the samurai swords, as we learned about them in Dr. Sharif's material science class. We learned that the samurai needs a sword that is hard on the outside, but flexible on the inside to endure impact. To achieve this characteristic, the steel is forged in extreme heat, and then repeatedly heated, hammered, and folded. This process is labor-intensive, but results in a very tough weapon. We are like a samurai sword, not in its purpose, but in the way it is fabricated. What makes us stronger is our willingness to improve and take on new challenges. I started off my freshman year here at Cal State LA as a computer science major. Most of the times, I ended up in deep arguments with my computer. After a few quarters, I thought I had enough. I couldn't go any longer with the love-hate relationship I had created with my computer, and found my passion in mechanical engineering. After changing my major, I was eager and excited to learn until I took Strength of Materials. Oh boy, after that first midterm, I thought, what did I get myself into? Sign me up for that C++ class. After this point on, even though I got good grades, I began to lack the confidence in myself and question my capabilities. This was my mentality until last year, when for the first time in my life, I had to move out of state and live by myself in a city in the state of Washington I didn't even know existed. After the first week, I was homesick, and walking to work at 6 in the morning didn't help much either, especially when the rest of the interns would pass me by on their bikes. Sometimes they would go for bike rides down the river path, while I would sit on my balcony and remember the 11-year-old me, walking and crying as my Girl Scout team went for a bike ride. All because I didn't know how to ride a bicycle. 12 years have passed, and I found myself stuck in the same situation again. This was the moment that made me realize, if I don't believe in myself to take on new challenges, I will always be stuck in the same situation while others move on. So after many falls, bruises, and scars, I finally learned to ride a bicycle. Not only did this give me an extra 30 minutes of sleep in the mornings, but it also gave me the confidence to do better at my internship, learn new things, and come back at the end of the summer with a positive attitude towards challenges. Just like the samurai sword, through the challenging experiences, I became a stronger person. In exactly a month, I'll be moving back to the same city that once was a strange place, and I'm about to call it home in my new job as a systems engineer. I now realize challenges are opportunities, not to be avoided, but to be embraced. Embracing these leads to discovery of new people, discovery of information, and the discovery of ourselves. Whether it was riding the bicycle, driving the Bernoulli's equation, or debugging that C++ code, we all had to overcome challenges throughout our academic career. Over these years, ECST has been our home. We have become a family that suffered through the exams together, enjoyed the victory of the curves, and learned something new from one another. Through all of these, we had people that supported, encouraged, and mentored us. These people in my life were my family with their endless support, my friends with their encouragement, Frances Hidalgo with her mentorship, Thelma Federico with her positive outlook, and John Cook, my mentor from Washington, who taught me to believe in myself and take on new challenges and have a life full of worthy endeavors. My friends, we're about to go on a new journey, and we will certainly encounter some bumpy roads. At times we may enjoy the ride, while other times we may struggle or get a flat tire at the worst possible time. Be prepared for the best and be prepared for the most. But most importantly, believe in yourself. Carry some duct tape and tools to tighten up the loose bolts. Don't turn back. Don't ever lose hope. Get on the bike and embrace the road. Thank you.
Thank you, Arsene. And now for our keynote speaker. Fortune favors the bold. That's the company motto of MGA Entertainment. That motto defines company owner Isaac Larian's approach to life and business. Mr. Larian grew up in pre-revolutionary Tehran. One of 5 children, he was poor and Jewish, the son of a textile salesman. Mr. Larian was bold, even then. Determined to live the American dream, he bought a one-way ticket to Los Angeles in 1971. When Mr. Larian arrived in the US, he had $750 in his pocket, and he was only 17 years old. But Mr. Larian could spot a great opportunity when he saw one. He enrolled at Cal State LA and paid his way through school by working as a waiter. In 1978, he earned a Bachelor's of Science degree in civil engineering. Mr. Larian started out in business selling brass lawn ornaments. The company then expanded into importing electronics, including Nintendo's early handheld video game systems. Eventually, MGA began designing their own toys. Today, MGA is the force behind the thriving Little Tykes line, the Bratz dolls, Moxie Girls and Teens, and the new Lalaloopsy dolls. Mr. Larian is active in charitable foundations that focus on helping children. In 2005, he was named Cal State LA's Alumnus of the Year. And in 2007, he received the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year award. Through his hard work and entrepreneurial spirit, last year, Mr. Larian earned a spot on the Forbes list of billionaires. Please join me in welcoming Isaac Larian.
Cal State LA. There you go. Well, I'm going to take these glasses off. Dr. Allen, that was my speech. First, President Covino, Dean Allen, member of the faculty, and more important, the graduating engineering class of 2015. Thank you for giving me the honor to speak to you today. 37 years ago, I was in your seats. Frankly, I don't remember the speaker or the commencement speech. I was too hungover from partying the night before. But before anything else, I want to join Dr. Covino and give a full acknowledgement to all the parents who are here tonight. Your parents deserve to be recognized tonight because they, out of genuine wish and hope that all of you will have a good future, worked hard and sacrificed a lot so you can be successful in your future and get a good education. They did their best. When I graduated here, I had 2 jobs. I waited tables at the Host International Restaurant, that Dome restaurant in LAX, and I parked cars in different restaurants and clubs around LA. I had come to this great country at age 17 with a one-way ticket, a big American dream, $750 in my pocket, and a yellow blanket, which I still have. I ran out of that money quickly and had only 25 quarters left in my pocket when I got my first job while going to college. I was a dishwasher for the graveyard shift at the Spire's coffee shop in Lawndale, making $1.65 an hour. That was the minimum wage. I was lonely, scared, didn't know if I could make it here, and frankly, if I had a return ticket, I would have gone back home to Iran for sure. But I persevered. And when I graduated here in 1978 as a civil engineer, I had about $11,000 in savings working in the restaurants and parking cars. And since I was the first graduate in my family, as a lot of you I saw are, it was a major deal for my family. Even though my parents, my family couldn't afford the plane ticket to the graduation, my father came all the way from Iran to attend my graduation here. My mother wasn't able to attend since they could only get enough money for one of them to travel. Each one of us has a life experience that has had a big impact on our life. My formative life experiences were all about seeing a challenge and tackling it heads on. Let me share 3 of my experiences with you. We were very poor growing up in Iran. We lived in the slums of Tehran in a city called Narmak, where we had no running water and no electricity. And we were the only Jewish family in the neighborhood. At the age of 7 and 8, I would walk to school most days. And most days I was bitten, going to school and coming home. One day, my mother told me that if I ever came home again with a bloody nose and crying, she will also beat me up. She said I needed to fight back. I needed to defend myself. And fight back I did from that day on and gained the respect of the street bullies. Here's another story. I was in Japan in the early 80s. Nintendo was hot. I didn't know anyone at Nintendo, yet I took the train to their headquarters in Kyoto, Japan. And I sat there all day until they would meet with me and they would give me the distribution rights for North America for Nintendo Game & Watch. That's how I started in the toy business. Lastly, and by far the biggest challenge I experienced, was after I had become successful. In 2001, MGA, a company I founded and owned, came up with a fashion doll line called Bratz. Before Bratz, Mattel, the maker of Barbie, had 98% market share of the fashion doll business for decades. By 2004, Bratz had 46% market share, and Barbie's market share had dropped to 43%. But then Mattel, being unable to compete head-on with a newcomer, sued MGA and me personally with a stated goal of litigating MGA to death. Now, at the end, they ended up losing what turned out to be the biggest intellectual property lawsuit in the US history. But it took them 10 years to lose, 10 years of brutal litigation. My friends, these stories are what I call accidents of life. Now, most of our lives, we are told to look forward. I ask you, what future can one look forward growing up in the slums of Tehran and being beaten, coming to the USA at age 17, running out of money, working as a dishwasher from 11 to 7 in the morning, and then going to college at 9 a.m. that day? However, rather than take that perspective, what I learned to do was instead to look backward at my life. From looking backward at my life experiences and accidents of my life, I was able to have enough confidence in myself to look forward. I also learned a very important lesson. Everything in life happens for a reason. Being beaten in the streets of Tehran and learning to become tough and fight back bullies later on taught me how to stand up and fight the biggest bully in the toy business. Being broke and lonely and working as a dishwasher in a foreign country while going to college taught me that there is no substitute for hard work and to be persistent to a fault. That is how I got the distribution rights for Nintendo, and that is how I was able to build the largest privately held toy company in USA. Thank you. So as you graduate today, I urge you to keep the following in mind. Our lives here are very short. It's really just like a flash. Just think, by the time you are my age, I will no longer be here. Follow your dreams. Life goes by so quickly. Live your lives boldly. Follow your heart and intuition. Somehow, your heart and intuition know what you really want out of your life. Live your life and not someone else's. Number 2, think big. In the words of 7th century Persian poet Rumi, you are bigger than and higher than the highest level that you think of yourself. Number 3, sometimes life is going to deal you what you think at the time is a devastating deck of cards. Later on in your lives, when you look backward, you will realize that what was a curse back then has really turned to a blessing. Don't lose faith, don't lose hope, keep moving forward, follow your instincts, follow your dreams, and never compromise. Lastly, look backward and learn from the accidents that happen in your life. That will give you the confidence to look forward and never give up. Be persistent. Now, I never worked as an engineer in my life. But But engineering taught me how to solve problems. In my opinion, engineering is the best education one can get in life. It gives you mental agility, focus, and tools to build both strategy and operation excellence. Dr. Allen told me a funny joke when I met her first. What is the difference between engineers and accountants? The accountants know they're not engineers. Best of luck to you, and thank you for having me. Thank you. That'll stay the ladies.
Thank you, Mr. Larian. Among the students earning baccalaureate degrees are those who will graduate with academic honors. Dr. Benjamin Lee, Associate Dean of the College of Engineering, Computer Science, and Technology, will acknowledge these students. Dr. Lee.
The university grant the baccalaureate degrees with Latin designation, summa cum laude, magna cum laude, or cum laude to students that have completed at least 60 units in residence and attained a grade points average that rank them within the top 10% of their college. This student wear gold braid draped on their black gown to mark their outstanding academic accomplishments and are listed in the program on page 57. Well, the candidates for the graduation with honors, please rise and be recognized. Please be seated. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce the Chief Academic Officer of the university, Dr. Lynn Mahoney, Provost and the Vice President for Academic Affairs. Dr. Mahoney.
President Covino, I present to you the candidates for degrees in the College of Engineering, Computer Science, and Technology. These students have met all of the requirements for their respective degrees and are recommended by the university faculty who taught them. The Bachelor of Science candidates have earned degrees in civil, mechanical, electrical, or manufacturing engineering, in computer science, in industrial technology, aviation administration, fire protection administration, and technology, and graphic communications. The master's candidates have earned degrees in civil engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, computer science, and industrial and technical studies. One enthusiastic guy there. Will the candidates for master's degrees please rise for conferral of degrees by President Covino?
All right, master's degree candidates, by the authority vested in me, I hereby confer upon you the master's degree for which you qualify. Congratulations, graduates.
Will Will the marshals please lead the recipients for the Master of Arts and Master of Science degrees from the College of Engineering, Computer Science, and Technology to the stage.
Now presenting the Master of Arts in Industrial and Technical Studies.
Jacob Thomas Tucker.
And now Master of Science in Civil Engineering.
Juan Armando Rodriguez.
Hung Tan Tran.
Julian Sung.
William Aloysius Spoya III.
Jahaira Gastiam.
Selen Rosales.
Victor Alfonso Lopez.
Sun Yu Jung.
Miguel Angel Soto.
Akshay Patel.
Himil Patel.
And now we present the Master of Science in Computer Science.
Richard Kevin James Cross.
Khan Ozgunay.
Lauren Lamar Briggs.
Elnaz Bayasian.
Laura E. Mann.
Charanjit Panfer.
Kirti Tiwari.
Chintan Shah.
Harshal Shah.
Neha Sinha.
Manish Shaduri.
Prayarna Sonawani.
Rohan Sablaram Maharhi.
Divanshi Himanshu Shah.
Rucha Shanwari.
Niraporn Chutiraka.
Radang Sanrang.
Song Show.
Ashing Abraham Axlanian.
Deep Amrutia.
Jai Muria.
Rajesh Gosalia.
Garam Shah.
Ashish Patel.
Ronak Patel.
Paras Patel.
Nishing Patel Perkachikra.
Bindal Patel.
Priyank Mehta.
Alpesh Patel.
Jetikumar Patel.
Harsh Patel.
Kiyur Chatrola.
Yash Yariwala.
Madulikia Indukuru.
And now presenting Master of Science in Computer Science.
Steffi Zintu.
Ronak Mehta.
Nirav Moody.
Manuel Francisco Garcia. And now presenting Masters in Electrical Engineering.
Sarah Jane Bergonia Espano.
Mark Navarro.
Ari Armando Alvarez.
Rolando Danilo Elvira Ordóñez.
Narina Mirzaki Hanhanian.
Nikta Jalayer.
Stephen Chagoya.
David Gergis.
Kevin Patel.
Bhumi Patel.
Tanvi Ruvankar.
Tanush Dikonda.
Winwesin Lagis Tesema.
Ganga Shrestha.
Isaac Alvarez.
Coder.
Abdubziz Al-Zed.
Mohammed Masad Al-Hasmi.
Angelica Gomez.
Vedavati Muniyapa.
Ashigilai Ardapuri.
Ashwini Poneri Sivanyanam.
Ayodele Olfo.
Lin Tung.
Sharik Khan.
Hisham Akbar.
Patel Ankit.
Jay Patel.
Rashmi Aramili.
Suchi Dulu.
Shubham Singh.
Sabine Khan.
Usama Jamil.
Sean Farudi. And now presenting Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering.
Kirby Scott Adams.
Orlando Christopher Castellanos.
Edgar Herrera.
John Christopher Morris.
Ahmed Twe.
Lenny Hernandez Sanchez.
Vincent Cruz Suño.
Kevin John Vergel de Dios.
Luis Andrew Munoz.
Shagor Hossein.
Wilson Tam.
Isaac Philip Bernal.
Dwayne Patrick Medal II.
Christopher Romo.
Frank Steven Gonzalez.
Abhijit Singh Kosamia.
Brijesh Patel.
Hara Teja.
Burke Gungor.
Tirupati Reddy. Yadu Krishnan.
Eshtimuddin Sufyan Seed.
Sanjana Reddy.
Jing Lee.
Reddy Kishore Reddy.
Pranay Gangala.
Aj Majadi.
Teku Prati.
Rohita Tumala.
Praveen Tarakalulu.
Harsha Vangapandu. And now presenting the Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering,
Michelle Tovar.
Roberto Luis Fragoso Jr.
Atik Reman.
Fani Ramineni. Presenting Master of Science in Electrical Engineering,
Pavan Garapati.
Ilakian Damu.
Srikant Parichala.
Harsha Bumesh.
Kaveri Puchita.
Sweta Shri.
Sailaja Rupapati.
Pratibha Kota.
George Prakash Mekala.
Jasprit Dillon.
Sadana Pori Poli.
Sweta Danala.
Nareg Rastami.
Master of Science Civil Engineering, Banu Reddy.
Luis Fernando Reina.
Will the candidates for baccalaureate degrees please rise for the conferral of degrees by President Covino?
Okay, here we go. By the authority vested in me by the state of California and the California State University, I hereby confer upon you the baccalaureate degree for which you qualify. Now, it's time to move that tassel from the right to the left. Congratulations.
Will the marshals please lead all the recipients for the baccalaureate degrees to the stage?
And now presenting Bachelor of Science in Industrial Technology.
Darlene Thompson.
Virginia Lisette Mejia.
Lisandra Isol Parga.
Double degree Nathaniel Portillo Silva.
Anna Karen De Leon.
Go. James Adam Thompson IV.
Jen Wei Chow.
Jonathan Andrew Rodriguez.
Brandon Lee.
Jonathan Osvaldo Languren.
Isai David Guerrero.
Roderick Rodel Tabuyo.
Edison Tabuyo Jr.
Rodney Kenglet Paguyo.
Amit Uprete.
David Marin.
Jeremy Paul Gonzalez.
Hugo Hernandez.
Farah Nakatani.
Jonathan Rafael Villeda.
Brenda Marie Willis.
Ronald Gomez Hernandez.
David Michael Para II.
Daniel Asensio.
Adam Rouge.
William Enrique Hernandez.
Victor Antonio Jimenez.
Gustavo Adolfo Rosales. And now presenting the Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering.
Arsene Bagdasarian.
Double major Alexis Dominic Barajas.
Leticia Santana.
Double major, Eduardo Carlos Zapata.
David Caperon.
Robert Alvarez.
Philip Patrick Thomas.
Edward Manuel Gonzalez.
Trong Nim.
Abisai Mesa.
Minu Singh.
Elizabeth Irene Connolly.
Rodrigo Vialta III.
Benny Sandoval.
Adam Victor Martinez.
Ernesto Alexander Camacho.
Fernando Morales.
Juan Carlos Ramírez Cardona.
Manuel Alejandro Salazar.
Aaron Victoria I.
Moises Hernandez.
Jonathan Michael Gonzalez.
Loria Lakey.
Ronilo Cortés Mulawin.
Pedro Jr. Bareles.
Joshua Aaron Cooper.
Adriel Ivan Manalo Pegdebian.
Omar Ramos.
Frank Wang.
María Elena Prieto.
Miss Rain C. Meng.
Narbe Agajanian.
Joshua Castillo.
Omar Sapalaran.
Fernando Sosa Rojas.
Benny Yin.
Edwin Linnell Mancia Jr.
Cesar Andrew Arevalos Beltrán.
Bo Peng.
John Richard Gabriel Reyes.
Zhuang Li.
C.Y. Wong.
Kevin Chan Mishkon.
Eric Juan Verduzco.
Isaac Christian.
Jonathan Goldsmith.
John Michael Ford III.
Daniel Hernandez.
Yang Cha Yi.
And now presenting the Bachelor of Science in Aviation Administration.
Laura Andrea Chamorro.
Alicia Danielle Snowden.
Abilene Vasquez.
Andrea Gabriela Romero.
Anna Leah Robinson.
Sarah Abigail Coronel.
Jonathan Urquia.
Edwin Aristides Amaya.
Shang Shao Wang.
Omid Abdishamkar.
Vanessa Cardenas.
Nelly Cortez.
Ruben Eduardo Castellanos.
Tracy Ijeoma Ajojo. And now presenting the Bachelor of Science in Computer Science.
Howard Lee.
Harry Jung.
Brian Ye.
Tony Liang.
Alberto Antonio Serrano Jr.
Marvin Ivan Mendez.
Daniel Said.
Dominic Dunning.
Cesar Miguel Flores.
Frank Molina.
Jeffrey Isamu Kimura.
Dustin Lee York.
Marvin Isep.
Aiden Cabrales.
Alex Nassif.
Wendy Tran.
Pablo Martin Sedekes.
Daniel Ayan Soto. And now presenting the Bachelor of Science in Fire Protection Administration and Technology.
Matthew Scott Bashaw.
Joel Romero.
Cody Hatfield.
David Lawson.
Patrick Garcia.
Christopher George Romo.
Trinity Jones.
Antonio Benjamin Orona.
Andrew Gabriel Salas.
Ronald Joseph Ortiz Jr.
Michael Sambrana.
Christian Riley Jardelisa.
Jose Roman Ascension.
Zachary Knight.
Mark Stephen Carter.
Jeffrey Scott Lemberger.
Jishawn Fields Jr.
Tabitha Renee Reed.
Angelica L. Montoya Lopez.
Gabriel Jimenez Jr.
Edwin Armando Soriano.
Alfredo Córdoba Jr.
Nathan Cole Johnson.
Heather Louise Thurston.
Patrick Donald McKenna.
Patrick Halova Garcia.
Nathan Robert Tadeja Carr.
Eric John Desamito Andres.
Christian Allen Navarrete.
Giovanni Mendez.
Dennis Osorio.
Takuma Ted Yonikawa.
Daniel Nungaray.
Fred Cándido Barrientos.
Greg Sarko.
Kevin Paul Tamo Sakamoto. And now presenting the Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. Jocelyn Molina.
Flor Barolo.
Double Major Alondra Lira Valenzuela.
Juan Velasquez Cárdenas.
Joseph Silva.
Adolfo Gutierrez.
Elton C.
Ryan Robert Jacobs.
Cerilyn Gu.
Carlos Javier Homada.
Anthony Soriano.
Edgar Morales.
Thomas Sarkisian.
Susana Rodriguez Diaz.
Ludwig Perez.
Jonathan Andrew De La Cruz.
Matthew Thomas Alvarado.
Shirley Zamora.
Renee Malan.
Jonathan Ma.
Pedro Miguel Quintana.
Arvin Mangasar.
Derek Cirola.
Rajik Zarukian.
Rong Liang.
Alexander Bunia.
Javier Martinez.
Vu Hong Pam.
Lincoln Moa.
Min Su.
Roxanne Jasmine Acosta.
Jose Luis Rea.
Adam Solis.
Araceli Contreras.
Zaina Seidan.
Christopher Eldon Wise.
Nancy Duran.
Double Major Jeanette Marquez.
Scott Shintaku.
Mark Ocampo.
Julio Cesar Martinez.
Fabiola Perez.
Virginia B. Estrada.
Ernesto Delgado.
Abraham Getane.
Jonathan Castillo.
Mark Matsuyama.
Edward Anthony Valdovinos.
Oscar Gill.
Eder Ramiro.
Edwin Alfonso Cardosa.
Leslie Mechico Ortiz.
Young Dan.
Jose David Cruz.
Ryan Joy Hudson.
Dino Capra.
Justin Ramon Paredes.
Jose Alfredo Benitez.
Norma Margarita Arenas.
Double Major Damarius Yerset Yeseni Castillo.
Claudia Garcia.
Francisco Fernandez.
Mark Omini. And now presenting the Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering.
Michael Stephen Paul.
Cruz Olivares.
Eduardo Antunes.
Alec E. Castillo.
Frank Martinez.
Jose Gomez.
Oscar Galicia Hernandez.
Mario Estala Jr.
Vahe Avidian.
Jesus Espino Licea.
Nopedon Rugtong.
Alan Isaac Gonzalez.
Jose Javier Sanchez.
Anthony L. Alfaro.
Michael Edward Ayala.
Lindsay Fike.
Harry Sarkisian.
Alex Abujian.
Jairo Gorita Alvarez.
Christopher Siding Dutch.
Christian Cabrera.
Jacob Vigenshaljian.
Kevin Jose Depas.
Carlos Alberto Lopez Jr.
Martin Gonzalez.
Kevin Thomas Casey.
Alejandro Soto.
Adolfo San Juan Santiago.
Jesse Rubacaba.
Joshua de la Cruz.
Oscar Ramirez.
Juan Carlos Casas Rosas.
Sergio Jose Talom.
Og Mojica.
David Harion Roquejo.
Nathan Jonathan Johnson.
Brian Alexis Leon Garcia.
George Duong.
Winston Atanasio Carriaga.
Mauricio Hernán Villarroel.
Cristino Eduardo Castro.
Miguel Esau Marroquín.
Derek Leong.
Jae Soo Hu.
Eric Hai.
Adriana Arlene Cerda.
Brian Yang Chin.
And now presenting the Bachelor of Science in Graphic Communication.
Alejandro Macedonio.
Miley Jumay Spiller.
Is everybody happy? Congratulations, graduates. I would like to thank all of the university staff, faculty, students, and volunteers involved in organizing the 68th commencement ceremony, and acknowledge the members of the Honors Convocation and Commencement Advisory Committee. There will be a brief reception for graduates and their guests at Reeder Field following the recessional, where we hope you'll join us. Will the audience and graduates please rise for the university hymn? You will find the words on page 13 of your program.